We're being robbed because we need Patty Pimblett to get a title shot. We're being robbed of that experience of excitement.
Yes,
We
we
can't keep letting him
can.
get it.
Yes, we
We can't
can.
keep getting away with this.
What is up, everybody? We are back on the Bad Guy Worst Guy podcast. We're back in business. I'm, of course, your host, the bad guy. Here with me, my co-host, the worst guy.
Yep, I'm excited to be back. We have not shot a video in a long time. A lot of actually every single division, at least in the guys, actually even in the women's weight classes, has changed quite a lot since our last video. So it's going to be exciting to do a little bit of matchmaking in this video and see what are some awesome fights that could be made with the new champions and also with the rising contenders in each division.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it better. This video, we're gonna be doing some dream matchmaking, making the fights that the real fans want to see. None of these casual fights, but we can really speak for the grizzled vets of the fight community and what our people want to see.
Indeed, I think that we have the beakers and test tubes out for this video. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we should just start with Flyweight. Dude, Joshua Van, the new champion, put him pound for pound number one. He was able to defeat Alexandre Pantoja with only one strike landed. What an absolute masterclass by Joshua Van.
dominant performance. No, I'm kidding. That's disgraceful. It should have been a no contest.
Should it have, though?
But
Should it have?
I mean, I guess the argument for not being a no contest is for the fact that technically it was caused by Joshua Van like taking him. Well, it wasn't a takedown, but he kind of like tipped him over into his arm. I mean, can we say that that was a fluke? Like, I don't think it could get more fluky.
Now that he's the champion, there's kind of been like a breath of life kind of refresh into this division. Pantoja, he'd already cleared through the division, had he beat Joshua Van, which I think the fight was shaping up to be that way, he was going to go
hmm
on a second lap of the division. So now that there's a new champion, there's really some more room for some matchmaking.
Yeah, and I think that because of the way it ended with him getting injured, that injury is going to take quite a little bit to heal up. So it's clear so far from what anyone can see that he's not going to right away hop back into the title fight, at least not in the near future. So to keep the division moving, there's got to be some other matchups that take place. I know tonight, we're going to have Manel Cap fighting Brandon Royval. Maybe one of them could get the next title shot. I know Manel Cap has been, looming around that top contender status for quite a little bit, and I think that could be a pretty entertaining fight.
Well, you say one of them could get that title fight from this fight, and I agree with you.
Mhm.
Only one of them could get the title fight from this, and it's not Brandon Royval. Joshua
Mhm.
Van had that close fight of the year performance against him, and I think the UFC is
Yeah.
going to do some new fresh matchups. I really only see them giving Manel Cap the title shot.
No, absolutely. I think Manel Cap winning this fight, I think that fight makes sense. It brings a lot of eyeballs. Manel Cap is pretty entertaining as far as fight style goes, and also personality wise. I think he's pretty funny on the mic
Oh
at
yeah.
times. Yeah. So, as far as I'm concerned, that seems like a really good fight to make. If Brandon Royval beats Manel Cap, then that kind of, I mean, what do we do? I mean, there's obviously Joshua Van is hasn't fought everyone in the division like Pantoja, but is like, are we just gonna keep recycling the same contenders over and over again? I
Well,
don't know.
I don't even think we have to do that because last weekend at UFC 323, we saw what Tatsuro Taira did to Brandon Moreno, and if I'm being
hmm
completely honest, I think it was an early stoppage. I'm not going to
hmm
disagree with the ref's call, but this guy's a new contender. He's number 3 on the UFC rankings right now. I think he's on a little bit of a win streak, and he's got an
Yeah.
interesting style.
No, yeah, definitely. Tatsuro Taira, I completely forgot about him.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, he looks very good, and from what Dana White has said, he looks like he could be next. They were talking about maybe doing a Van versus Taira fight in Japan, which would go
That would be
absolutely
cool.
crazy if they did. And yeah, it would be really entertaining to see who gets the. I think it's a really cool matchup.
I mean, Flyweight also has some, new up and comers. I'm not even gonna say up and comers. We have some crafty vets making their return. Can we talk about
hmm
Kyoji Horiguchi? What was his recent performance
Yes,
on? What card was that?
Kyoji Haraguchi, the goat. The only guy who really put a whooping on him was DJ Demetrius
Mighty Mouse
Johnson.
was his
But
only UFC loss.
yeah, so he beat on the Saryukian hooker card. He
That's right.
beat
A Daggy, right?
Tagiro Lembekov. Yeah, he beat Tagiro Lembekov. Out wrestled him, outstruck him, like literally dominated. Like I was so impressed with his performance. No,
Dude,
yeah, this guy's the real deal.
he
He's
might be
gonna
the
be a really good.
craftiest vet of all time. He brutalized the Dagestani on the feet, and then he took him down. And did he choke him unconscious, or it was pretty close? He definitely got the
Yes,
tap.
he did. He submitted him round three. Everything about that performance was so impressive. His takedown defense, his takedown offense, and his strike. He looked like a even smaller version of like Marab. Like in the sense that he was like little tank, just walking forward, swinging and putting on that pressure and kind of drowning Tagirlo back off, which was really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, what's next for Kyoji Horiguchi? Like, I don't know who he fought before he left the UFC, but
Well, because the flyweight division is not really the deepest division in the UFC, I could see him getting like a crack at like a top five guy. Um, and then, if it's a big name, he puts on another, really good performance. He'll be like maybe one more fight away, or maybe even the next fight from a title shot. So
I
he's right
forget.
there. He's about two fights away.
Was he a champion and he was in Ryzen, right? Or some other
Hmm.
organization? Was he the champion there?
The
Can't remember.
inaugural flyweight champion and the two-time bantamweight champion. So that's pretty cool.
And he's looking better in the UFC than the other Ryzen bantamweight
Hmm.
champion, Kaya
And
Sakura.
look at his record, 35-5. Like that is a ridiculous good like win rate
How
for a
old is
guy like
he?
a little guy. He's pretty old. He's a crafty. He's 35, so
That's pretty old for flyweight years.
very old.
But to do what he did to a Daggy, I mean,
Yeah,
this might be the craftiest vet of all time. And there's been some crafty vets.
for sure. For sure. You know what? Scrap the whole division in the bin.
Dana White should have
That's
killed
match.
this thing off years ago.
That's the matchup I want to see: the flyweight versus the bin. So, as far as I'm concerned,
Should we should
no
we
no
should we
screwing
go up to
matches.
bantamweight and get some real matchups going?
Absolutely, breath of fresh air.
You know, when we're talking about bantamweight, there's been this fight that I've gone to sleep at night and I've had dreams about this fight. I wake up in the morning, I eat, I think about this fight. I go about my day, I think about this fight. It's all I can really picture in my mind. And I don't think the UFC has the balls to make this fight, but I think they should make Patchy Mix versus Kaya Sakura. Somebody's
Whoa.
O in the UFC has to go, and this is the fight to do it in.
Yeah, no, I'm for that because, but please, Kaya Sakura is good. Like I know he is.
Is he though?
I know he is. He needs something, and I think Patrick Mix is the perfect person to throw into the wolves, dude.
This could be a
He's as
nightmare
stiff as a
matchup
board.
for Asakura though. It could be a nightmare matchup on either side because Asakura got submitted by Tim Elliott, bro. Old man Tim Elliott. And people forget, man, but Patchy Mix was the Bellator GOAT. He was really out here getting some insane submissions with his slick jiu-jitsu in Bellator. And this could really be a nightmare matchup for Kai Asakura. And on the flip
Well,
side, Mix
yeah.
is stiff as a board, dude. And Asakura's got that pop in his hands.
And Kaisakura would have to be moving up because Kaisakura right now is a flyweight, so he would have to,
He's a bantamweight,
go.
no?
No, he's a flyweight, so he would have to move up uh
Oh, that's right. He
to
talked about
bantamweight to.
moving up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I think that's a really good fight to make, and if you're, I mean, what are you gonna do with those two? It's like it's either you're gonna cut them or you're gonna like make them fight each other. Like somebody at some point has to win.
Yeah, some of
So
these guys from other organizations are kind of frauds, and if you want to see who can really stick around with the UFC, you book these two. The loser gets kicked out of the UFC. I mean, what better way to make these guys fight? Like their life depends on it. They quit their other organizations. They didn't do so well in the UFC. So if they want to stay, they really gotta beat the brakes off the other guy.
yeah, and I want to extend my offer to Patchy Mix to come and train. I'm gonna be teaching some cardio kickboxing lessons, how to, move your head, have some flow with your movements and not be as stiff as a board. So I'm gonna be extending that to Patchy Mix to, maybe learn some striking techniques. So
He knows where to find
if he
you.
wants that, he knows where to find me.
Bantamweight, also got a new champion at 323. The Pyotr Jan Masterclass over Marab. He did make Marab look human, and I'm still sad about this matchup, dude.
Yeah, I was eating my hachapuri. I had the full Georgian gear. I had the little Marab furry hat. I had like a little Marab plush toy. And I was watching that, and it just got sadder. And round one was actually pretty good. Marab did a good job, but then it just got bad. And he got low kick. He got like a liver kick
Oh,
at
that was
one point. He like
nasty.
nearly got crumpled. I got crumpled from that kick, just the sound of it. And the takedown defense was there, and it was a really good performance from Piotr Jan, but I also think that Merab should have stuck to his, boring game plan of the first fight that they had, where it was just like literally don't do any striking at all. Just keep diving for the legs, keep diving for the legs. And even if you're not getting those takedowns, if you're holding them up against the cage, you're still winning that fight. And for the next time, I expect Merab to use that.
Honestly, I think he was sticking with the game plan because he shot 29 times against Peter Yan in this fight. And can we talk about how Peter Yan defended 27 out of 29 takedowns? I don't know what that is as a percentage. It's probably close to like 80 or 90%. But what an absolute masterclass. It's kind of like the second like resurgence of Peter Yan. He had this fall from grace and to work back up to his title and defeat the greatest bantamweight of all time in such a dominant performance. It's really, although it sucks to see Merab lose. He was probably the best champion that we had in a long time.
Mhm.
It's just, can you even hate Peter Yan after what he did to him?
Yeah, I do. I do hate Piotr Jan, and guess what? I do believe Merab will be back. I think Merab has the tools to beat Piotr Jan. I mean, he did it once. He can do it again. Uh, but it's gonna be hard. He's gonna have to, as I say, he has to like not allow for a void to even be created, as Demetrius Johnson likes to say. He has to stay on him. It needs to be like a magnet, like where he's just like there's no sort of break, there's no like breathing room. Literally within, he needs to just be, when a little kid wants his mom's attention and he kind of just grabs the leg and kind of just dragging,
Doesn't let go.
hugging him. Yeah, doesn't let go. That's what Marab needs to do in the rematch.
Are
So
you
that's what I'll be
insinuating
looking for.
that Merab is like a little kid compared to Peter Yan?
Yeah, I mean, he has the energy of a toddler, and he's kind of built like one. So yeah,
I mean,
let's go for that.
when we talk about what's next for Peter Yan, I see I see three roads in my mind right now. You know, I agree with you
Don't say
that
it.
Marab should get the trilogy, but I don't think it should be an immediate rematch. I think we should give Marab some time. Obviously this guy just fought 4 times in a year. He's kind of the cardio maxer. This who else is doing what Marab is doing? But when we put that to the side for a moment, two real roads open inside my head. You know, Sean O'Malley is fighting Song Yadong,
No, you
and if
said it.
if Sean O'Malley beats Song Yadong, I can absolutely see the UFC booking the rematch. And
We can't be doing this.
on
We
the
can't
flip
keep.
side, Umar Nurmagomedov is fighting Devson Figueiredo. And if Umar Nurmagomedov wins, I could see the
My God.
UFC booking him versus Peter Yan. So it's really who wins their fight first, who wins their fight, or who wins in better fashion.
We can't keep letting O'Malley get away with this. Like
Yes,
we
we
can't keep letting him
can.
get.
Yes, we
We can't
can.
keep getting away with this. We can't just keep giving him title shots for no reason.
Okay, I mean,
Um,
it's kind of look at what
but
they did with O'Malley. They gave him Cheeto Vera for his first title defense. He was obviously avenging his loss, and although it might have been a robbery, Sean O'Malley
yeah,
has a win over Peter Yan in the history books.
I get what you're saying, and I could totally see that happening. And for what it's worth, it's not a fight that I would be tremendously mad about. I wouldn't be like, you know. waving the pitchforks at my TV, going like, "What is he talking about?" It's like, okay, that's fine. Let Piotr get that one back because I think Piotr will win that rematch, unless it's a robbery again, and then I don't know what to say.
5 round
Um,
robbery.
yeah, that would be crazy. But the Umar seems a lot more likely to me because it was clear as day that the UFC wanted Umar as champion.
I believe they still
I
do.
think they still do. And now I think Piotr Jan is a very winnable matchup for Umar Nurmagomedov. We're talking stylistics. He's a very talented striker. His kicking game is extremely good. And then his wrestling is obviously extremely good. And Piotr Jan doesn't have that, built difference in this that Merab has, where he's gonna drain Umar Nurmagomedov. Umar Nurmagomedov doesn't have a cardio issue. That was just simply because Merab is so built different.
He's a machine.
Um, so I think that that's actually a winnable matchup. And if you want to make Umar Nurmagomedov champion, you book that fight.
Yeah, I think these matchups really depend on who wins those two fights. I don't really see the UFC giving Song Yadong a title shot unless he does something crazy
Mm-mm.
to O'Malley, like pieces him up in the first round, starches him out cold. Same thing with Figgy. So and has Peter Yan's beat Figgy before, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I don't really see them booking that. So it's really which one of those two wins their fight. But if both of them win their fight, I think the UFC will give O'Malley the shot. And dude, O'Malley he'll put on a masterclass against Petr Yan. Absolute striking masterclass. He is the greatest bantamweight to ever live.
Okay, dude. Let's stop the glaze. We gotta stop the glaze.
I'll be more professional, but I could see that matchup, being very entertaining. The first fight was
No,
very
yeah,
was
I agree.
very
I agree.
close. A lot of
Yeah.
people said Peter Yan won that fight. You know, I'm not here to dispute if that was a robbery or not, but Sean O'Malley did beat him, and there's definitely that narrative of, oh yeah, Sean O'Malley's beat the current champion. If they book that
hmm
rematch, this is a revenge fight, or it's Sean O'Malley does the same thing and beats him and becomes a two-time champ.
You know what I think should happen? I think Frankie Edgar should fight for the title next, or
Honestly,
Patricio Pitbull. No, no,
no,
that's a
no, no.
featherweight.
Give
Yeah,
give the
no, but
winner
yeah,
of Patchy Mix and Kaya Sakura the title shot at bantamweight.
I'm not mad at that.
That's not ridiculous to say that.
I'm not mad at that, dude.
Um,
All right, dude, we need to move on from this division.
Okay, well, I have one more fight for bantamweight that we could propose.
All right, let's hear it.
One of my favorite marauders, he's kind of on a tear right now, is Ayman Zahabi. You love him, hate him. He is doing good. I agree that Ayman Zahabi beat Jose Aldo. I don't think that's a robbery. If you watch that fight back, he edged out that last round. He got soccer kicked in the head, but he beat Aldo up with the elbows, and he's number 7 in the rankings right now. I think we should give him the crack at a top 5 opponent, and who's better for a top 5 opponent than Corey Sanhagen? I say that we book
Mm.
number 4 Corey Sanhagen versus number 7 Ayman Zahabi.
Yeah, and I hope Corey Sandhagen knocks him to the shadow realm. That guy, dude, I don't like him at all.
You
I
don't
don't
like
like him
Ayman
at all.
Zahabi?
And no, I don't. And it's just annoying when I look at a guy and I'm just like, this guy's not good, but he just keeps on winning.
Whoa,
And
hot take. I think Ayman
that's
Zahabi is very skilled.
no, I don't think so. When I watch him, I'm just like, dude, this guy is not good,
He's
and he just
also
keeps winning, and
he's
that makes
also
me mad.
very entertaining. I mean, he just had a very entertaining fight with Cheeto Vera. Before that, the Aldo fight was super entertaining. Both these guys almost finished each other in the same round. They had some fun striking exchanges, and I think the Sandhagen fight can really give him the chance to really prove that he's can hang with the best of the best in this division.
No, I think Sanhagen will destroy him. I think so, and I don't think he's good at all. I disagree. I think he's good enough to get by, but when he gets to a truly like elite guy, he's gonna find himself in some trouble.
I mean, he did fight Jose Aldo, who there's
He's old buckle hat, old man Aldo.
Pilgrim Jose Aldo.
Yeah, Pilgrim, just old man green bean. Jose Aldo.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's go up another weight class to featherweight. Before we started the show, I know you had something on your chest that you really want to address me
Hmm.
with. Do you just want to get it out of the way, man?
I do because this has actually been bothering me for a long time, and I've been meaning to talk to you about it, but I wanted to wait until the pod. What the hell are we talking about? Diego Lopez getting a title shot at featherweight? What?
Yeah. Okay.
What?
Okay. It's it's a little ridiculous they gave him the rematch after the one fight win streak over Gene Silva. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't hate the matchup, and I think it's honestly a good matchup.
Oh my God. I'm gonna lose my mind. This is where profanity is coming out, dude. Because here's my problem with Diego Lopez
Okay.
is okay, we could look at the full picture of the first title shot. I agree, he deserves it. But okay, so he beat Gene Silva.
Yeah.
Remind me if I'm correct. Gene Silva was barely into the top 15 rankings
He
if
was number
when
10 or number 12 when they fought.
exactly. So you beat a number 12 guy when you were just the number one contender, and
Yeah.
you beat a number 12 guy who, if you're looking at the rankings, you should beat. I get Gene Silva. Obviously, we rate him highly because we know how skilled Gene Silva is, and we know that one day he's probably a top contender, if not a champion.
Absolutely.
But if we're looking at rankings and who deserves the title shot, you just beat a guy that's in a top 12. You're in a one fight winning streak, and the fight before you won against that top 12 guy was for the title, and you got beat decisively. It was a 4-1 decision.
Yeah.
Like no two ways about it.
4-1 or
And
3-2.
now I have a 4-1. I don't really see a 3-2 argument there. I think 4-1 was more than fair in that fight. My point being is that was a dominant performance. It wasn't close, like in the sense where we're like, "Oh my God, who won that fight?"
Split
At the
decision
end, we knew who won that
robbery.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So running it back after a one fight winning streak, especially when you beat a guy who's just in the top 12, I don't think that earns you a title shot. I don't think it makes any sense for Volk. It doesn't make any sense for Diego Lopez.
Okay. You make some very good points, but the issue with your argument is that you're using logic. Okay? We all know that the rankings do not matter in the UFC right now, and a prime example of that is Armin Sarukian. We'll get to this
Hmm.
when we talk about lightweight in a minute, but dude,
Yeah.
Armin Sarukian is the number one contender. He has wins over, Charles Oliveira, Dan Hooker, some really good contenders, some of these elite lightweights. He should be the one fighting for the title right now, but the UFC does not care about the rankings, dude. They said, you know what? To hell with logic. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje for the interim title.
Hmm.
So that's the first part of my argument. The second part of my argument is you brought up a very good part about we rate Gene Silva higher than he is because we know his skill. This guy's going to be
Hmm.
one of the best contenders ever and definitely a champion when you know his
Hmm.
career is all said and done. But the same argument goes for Diego Lopez. He's obviously one of the most skilled guys in the division. He's top 3 for a reason. And the very third part, I said two parts. There's three parts to this argument. The third part that you're missing to this argument is the real politics of the featherweight division, right? Because there's two other names that come to mind when you're thinking about who should have got the title shot against Volk. The first one is Yair Rodriguez. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The first one,
Yeah,
the
I was
first
like,
one
what?
is Movsar Evelev, right? The undefeated guy. He's like what, 18-0, 19-0,
Yeah,
the number one
18 and 0.
contender. He should have got, he should have been one of the names in the hat. The second guy is Daron Murphy. He's also
Hmm.
undefeated, like 16-0, 18-0, something like that.
17, 17 and
17-0.
0. Yeah.
It's in the middle. Both these
Yeah.
guys should have got the title shot, but from what came out of Diego Lopez's side is that he was offered the title shot, and he's gonna say yes to it. Of course, when the
Of
UFC,
course.
what contender is gonna say no to a title shot? And I
Hmm.
think the UFC had some very sneaky politics behind this when it came to it. So obviously, this fight is headlining UFC 325 in Australia. many people speculate that this is Volk's retirement fight. They thought the last fight was going to be his retirement fight.
Hmm.
They think even more now that this is going to be his retirement fight. If they would have booked Movsar Evelev versus Alexander Volkanovski for his retirement fight in Sydney, Australia, do you know what the UFC thought was going to happen? They thought that Movsar was going to smudge Volkanovski, similar to what Islam just did to Jack in his retirement fight. Who wants to see that, bro? This is the greatest featherweight of all time. Nobody wants to see him go out, in this gritty decision brawl, and a guy who's just gonna smudge him, in his home turf. And on the other side of the grass, you've got Lerone Murphy. He's beat nobody in the top five, and he's coming off a knockout over a Bellator guy. It's like, does that really warrant a title shot? Versus if you book Diego Lopez in Sydney, Australia, the first fight was an absolute striking banger. It was probably one of the best title fights of the whole year. You know that the rematch is going to deliver. Both these guys have pop in their hands. It's going to be in Sydney, Australia. You're going to have one of the loudest crowds ever to an insane striking masterclass. There's going to be no forced grappling like if it was a Movsar fight. So that's why I say it's not ridiculous for the UFC to book this fight, and I could see where the logic and the reasoning comes for this.
I understand what you're saying, but we have to remember. So Volk has recently come out and said, I don't know if you've seen this, but he said that this will not be his retirement fight. That
Yeah,
that's
I did
all
see that.
talk, and he will continue on. My other point is, you talk about Lerone Murphy not having a top five win. Who has Diego Lopez really beat? He has a win over Brian Ortega,
True.
Dan Ige, and Sadiq Youssef in the very beginning of his career. Um, and then he has a loss to Movsar Evloev. He's lost to Volk. Uh, it, Diego Lopez also is not this undeniable guy as far as resume goes. He doesn't have it's not like, oh yeah, this guy. You're looking at him and he's like, oh, he's the next guy to be a champion. I don't think he is. He's 27-7 in his career record. Seven losses. That doesn't mean you're not going to be a champion. Look at Charles Oliveira. He had like 10 losses and still became a champion. But when you look at guys like Movsar, who's undefeated, looked pretty much just destroying everyone. Those guys excite me for Volk's legacy. Those guys who are undefeated and Volk can be like, I think Movsar is a winnable fight for Volk. Call me crazy, but Volk was defending every takedown from like Islam Makhachev.
Not
So
ridiculous
so
to say
what
that.
what so what would it look like against Movsar Evloev? Maybe he could defend all those takedowns, and then we know how good Volk is in the striking.
Yeah.
You know how good his boxing is. So how much would it mean for Volk's legacy to, at the tail end of his career, take somebody's O, like Movsar Evloev, and put a silence to the Dagestani community, be like, yeah, I fought the Dagestani in my weight class, who was undefeated at the time with all the hype, and I beat him at the end of my career. How
Yeah.
special would that be for Volk? And
Yeah.
then in the same thing goes for Lerone Murphy, a undefeated guy. How special would be like the guy who just got this highlight reel KO against a really hyped contender that's coming up, who's undefeated as well, who has a lot of momentum behind him. At the end of my career, I still was able to school him.
Yeah.
That would be very special.
Yeah, and I definitely see where you're coming from, especially with the Mobsar talk. This guy's undefeated. He has wins over guys in the top, and that's really what makes that match interesting. Volkanovski defended takedowns against Islam. We know how good the striking is. That's why that fight is so interesting, and that's the fight that the fans, you know, have been asking for, that the fans want to see. But at the end of the day,
Yeah.
the UFC didn't book it, and for now, that's just a what if. So you really have to go and look at the politics and the business besides
Yeah.
behind that. And a lot of people are going to go and say, maybe they're not booking it because Movsar pulls out of his fights all the time. First off, that's not true. Movsar has only pulled out of like what, one or two events before. A lot less
Yeah.
than some people. But at the end of the day, we don't really know what's going on at Mobsar's camp. I'm sure they offered him, the title shot first because Diego Lopez, was probably the second
Hmm.
choice. So really just have to wonder what's with the UFC behind that. But at the end of the day, I'm not upset with the Diego Lopez rematch. The first fight was a banger, certified striking masterclass. It was so hyped to watch, and I think the second fight will just be a continuation of the first.
I'll tell you what, if Diego Lopez wins this fight and he gets the belt, I'm going to, take a break from everything. Join an MMA only gym, and I'm going full in, and I'm going to featherweight, and I'm gonna knock out Diego Lopez and take his belt. That's how upset I'm gonna be.
Hot
So,
take. I think you could
yeah.
submit Diego Lopez maybe with like a buggy choke.
Well, the thing is, he can't submit me, so we know that's a fact.
I've heard word on the street is that you're unchokeable.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing too. So, let's see.
Um, we we talked about Gene Silva a little bit, dude. He's
Hmm.
fighting Arnold Allen. This is like one of the most underrated fights that not many people
I'm
have been
excited.
talking about.
So excited.
This is a good fight.
So excited. Both guys really good at striking. And then, when you have a Gene Silva fight, you're going to see like some highlight reel worthy stuff. He's going to be talking to them. He's going to
Yeah.
be doing spinny stuff. It's going to be in their face. I expect a little more caution. At least I hope so.
Oh.
Because if he comes out like he came out against Diego Lopez with no caution at all, hands low, just swinging,
Yeah, but
he could find himself in some trouble.
who could have seen that elbow coming? I mean, he did get caught,
No,
but
yeah.
before that, you know, although I'm, as not as much of a Gene Silva glazer as you are, he was kind of
Hmm.
piecing up Diego. He was putting him on
He
skates a little
was.
bit in that fight.
Yeah. It was front teeps to the face. He was outboxing him. He landed some to Diego Lopez's credit, his chin seems to be unbelievable. Like
He's a
he
Mexican,
could take a yeah, he could take a whack. So well, he's actually Brazilian, but
born in Brazil, claims Mexican,
yeah. Yeah.
heritage.
He's got a Mexican chin for sure. But yeah, it was really impressive his striking, but then yeah, obviously that's why I want to see him a little bit more cautious because yeah, that's a bad idea against anybody that knows how to strike a little bit to just walk forward and no care.
Yeah, and we also just talked about Lerone Murphy and Movsar Evelev, and the title fight's already booked. Do you know what I think the UFC should really do next in the featherweight division?
Hmm.
I think they need to
Yeah.
book Movsar versus Lerone Murphy for the number one contenders matchup. That fight has the hype because you've got two undefeated guys going into it. One's the grappler heavy, one's the striker heavy. And both these
Hmm.
guys, we just talked about how they should have been fighting for the title. If you want to see who really should be fighting for the title, put them against each other. See who comes out.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that would be a banger fight. You could build it, somebody's O has got to go. I think that gets a lot of views. I would say a lot of pay-per-view buys, but we're moving into non-pay-per-view
Yeah,
now. So it's gonna be really, really cool to see. And I do believe that that's probably what's gonna happen next, since this has already been booked, they need to do them against somebody, so this makes the most sense.
they're some of the only ones in the division without a fight booked. I mean, there's Aljo too, but what do we do with Aljo
I know,
at this
I
point?
know what they would want to do probably, and this is like the one of their business like bad moves is they would do like a Yair Rodriguez versus one of them
Oh,
in like Mexico and
dude.
in like a like a La Noche card and make Yair Rodriguez, if he somehow some way managed to fluke his way, that would be instant title shot.
Well, there's a Mexico card coming up in early February, a fight night actually. So
Mark my
maybe,
words if this happens. Mark my words if this
yeah, you will come
happens.
back to this video when Yair Rodriguez gets booked against Lerone Murphy or Movsar Evelev. But
Oh my God, that'd be so crazy if I called that.
maybe we shouldn't reveal. We have a share in the UFC. Maybe the business doesn't want us revealing their secrets.
Yeah,
So
that's insider secret.
honestly,
Um,
hot take.
cool.
What could be a fight? Could be one of the fights of all
Mm.
time. Yusuf Zalal versus Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. I like
Those
the
are
sound of
those are
that.
two good grapplers. It's number 7 versus number 5. Zalal's coming off the good win over Josh
Hmm.
Emmett. Aljo's coming off the win over Ortega. This would be a very nice grappling exchanges match. Both these guys have good submission skills, good wrestling.
Yeah, that's a good call. I think that would be a really cool matchup to have like at an undercard. So yeah, that's pretty much it of what I can think of at least in the featherweight division.
We've talked about it a little bit, and I believe this is our segue into moving up to lightweight. But what is the UFC smoking making Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett?
Hey, you wanted to talk about, oh, guess what? Logic doesn't matter. It's about the company. So yeah, that's the type of matchmaking you get. That's the
Um,
type of matchmaking when you don't have logic and you do everything about getting views. Um, as far as getting eyeballs, yeah, Paddy Pimblett, Justin Gaethje is like the two biggest names in the lightweight division right now, other than obviously Charles Oliveira and Max
I
Holloway.
was gonna say you're
Uh,
forgetting the greatest lightweight of all time, Charles Oliveira.
yeah. So what can you do? It's like they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Am I gonna watch the fight? Yes. Am
Of
I picking
course.
Paddy Pimblett to win? Yes. Um, although it would be so funny if Justin Gaethje just knocked out Paddy Pimblett. That would be so funny.
Starches him
'Cause
cold with rolling thunder.
yeah, that would be hilarious because you just know you know what the UFC wants in this situation. It's like every fight that goes by, it's like you kind of have an inkling to what the UFC wants,
Of
and they
course.
want Paddy Pimblett to win this.
Of course.
For that reason, I think it would be hilarious if Justin Gaethje, just
If old man
absolutely
Gaethje
starts.
on his way out to retirement somehow flukes a win over Paddy Pimblett, and then to
Yeah,
even bring that a step further, flukes a win over Ilya Topuria or becomes undisputed if Topuria moves up, how crazy of an ending would that be? Like the Peaches and Creamville
fantastic,
type of ending.
fantastic. And the lightweight division's actually, I was sleeping on it a little bit, but now there's some interesting things going on here because you have Max Holloway taking on Charles Oliveira for the BMF belt.
Great fight, by the way.
Um,
Amazing fight.
yeah, amazing fight. If Max Holloway wins that fight,
He won't.
then
He
you could
won't.
easily see him. Yeah, he won't. But you could easily see him getting a title shot off of that. And
Could
you
he
know,
though? I
I
mean,
I I could easily. Well, if they're just gonna bench Armin Sarukian and
this is
never
where we
go.
need to talk about the dynamic of the BMF belt because
Yeah.
when I'm looking at this from a business standpoint, the issue with the introducing the BMF belt to just the UFC in general is you don't want to have the BMF champion go up against the undisputed champion because
Hmm.
when those two fights happen, it's really one man's going to walk out of that with two belts, and from a business standpoint you lose half of your title fights in that division right there because you could do a main event with the undisputed belt and you could do a main event with the BMF belt, and if those
Hmm.
belts are kind of unified and one man holds them, it's you really miss out on some big opportunities as a business. So if Max Holloway beats Charles Oliveira and gets the rematch against Topuria, or if the fans are like, yeah, he needs his rematch, he's been looking great in his fights ever since Topuria knocked him out, it's kind of in a pickle there because what do you do with that?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and yeah, that does make sense. You definitely don't want to have both belts wagered at the same time. Um, but I think I speak from a place of like logic in the rankings, right? Right now, Max Holloway's number three in the lightweight rankings,
Right.
just under Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. So he's coming off a win, Justin Gaethje, and then he beat Dustin Poirier in his retirement fight. So that puts him in a very good position as far as the lightweight division
Absolutely.
goes. And then you beat Charles Oliveira, and then it's like, okay, Arman has the fight for the undisputed, but then Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, the winner of that is going to be interim, so they're going to have to fight the belt. So he's going to have to be waiting out probably like two or three fights until he can get a crack at the title. And then who knows
Do you know what's
who's going to be
crazy?
holding it?
Do you know what I could see the UFC doing is so obviously the winner of Pimblett versus Gaethje, they're going to be interim champ. They're going to have to fight Topuria, right?
Hmm.
Max Holloway's going to fight Charles Oliveira. I could honestly see, and this might be crazy, the winner of that fight, Armin Sarukian fights them for the BMF belt. He's been calling for his title shot. All the fans, this guy deserves the title. And the UFC Dana White could be the biggest troll and say, you know what, bud? Puts his hand on his shoulder. You're fighting for that BMF belt in October.
Yeah, the craziest thing is I could totally see that happening. It's like Dana is that type of guy, and
And people
that would
hype
make me
Armin up.
so mad.
They're like, this
No, that
guy's
would
the
make me so
Armenian
mad.
Bruce Wayne. Dana White's like, yeah, this guy's Armenian Bruce Wayne. He needs to fight for the BMF belt instead of the undisputed.
That makes me so mad because I just like I know how good of a matchup Armin versus Ilya would be. Like that would
Yeah,
be a hype.
it
That
should
would
be
be
the it
one of
should be the
those.
matchup.
You know when we were leading for Islam versus Armin, and it was like that. Oh my God, there's gonna be like a crazy matchup. You know how excited
Yeah,
everyone was, and
of
even
course.
with JDM, Islam, and all these like crazy things, it would be one of those type of matchups where you can't even sleep at night because you're so excited for it.
Of course.
And we're being robbed because we need Paddy Pimblett to get a title shot. We're being robbed of that experience of excitement
And can we talk
because we
about
need Mr. Bullcut to get a title shot.
how Justin Gaethje got the title shot from sitting on the sidelines and kind of like whining for it? Because
Yeah.
I know you know, but for some of the fans out there, Justin Gaethje was saying that if he doesn't get the title shot, oh yeah, I'm just gonna pack my bags up and retire. Bye guys. Like, what
hmm
what is that? Like, come on, dude.
Well, I just want to say this kind of proves that Ali Abdelaziz is probably the
Oh
best
my.
manager of all time because how he keeps pulling this off, I don't know. Like Ali Abdelaziz has to like be a part owner in the UFC and like part
Yeah,
matchmaker
or he's
because
going crazy on
now what it's
Dana.
looking like, yeah, because now what it's looking like is welterweight. Islam's. We'll talk about that, but it's looking like he's gonna fight Kamaru
Yeah,
Usman.
yeah,
So
that's a
if that happens, dude, Ali Abdelaziz, I need your number, dude. I need your number. I need to sign because this guy just manages to always get it his way.
yeah, I don't know who his connections are. If this guy is like some secret industry plant, foreign agent, sent here to get everyone a fight in the UFC, but this guy has some of the best, like you said, the best managing skills of all time because some of these fights are absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I
Yeah,
think I think we should invent a new term. Call it Ali privilege, bro.
it is the Ali privilege. And it doesn't even make sense because I don't even think Dana White likes him. So how does this? What's going on?
He
Like
he
how?
he just has to have some master business
Guys,
techniques.
if you are watching this video and you are an up and coming MMA fighter and Ali Abdelaziz reaches out to you, sign with Ali Abdelaziz
Even
because
if he
you're
takes like
probably looking
50% of your fight purse, it's worth it, bro.
absolutely because you're looking at a title shot like off like a fluke victory over nobody. So sign.
Yeah. Um Lightweight's definitely got some interesting chickens. And all right, I'm gonna propose this matchup. I didn't completely think of it originally. I saw like I don't know if it was like an unofficial or like a teaser. If this fight's actually in the works right now and it's gonna get booked after this video releases, but someone out there said that Michael Chandler is gonna be fighting Renato Moicano, dude. Oh,
uh,
oh. What do you think?
Michael Chandler's still number 12 in the rankings, which is unbelievable. I mean, this guy
Yeah,
has done nothing but lose
yeah.
for like forever. Uh, Yeah, Moicano, as he likes to say in his own podcast, he sucks. Michael Chandler also sucks, so it makes sense.
Dude, this is such a
I
meme
like the
matchup.
Hooker. I like the Dan Hooker matchup more for Renato Moicano because they're having that back and forth. But if Michael Chandler has to fight somebody, I don't see why not. It's either that or you do like a lamb to the slaughter and give Michael Chandler to Mauricio Rufy so you could
Well,
get like walk into like a crazy KO.
you just mentioned both Dan Hooker and Mauricio Rufy. I'm not sure if you're aware, but
hmm
both of those guys do have fights booked up and coming.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Okay, can we
No,
can we talk
Maurice.
about the Rufy one first? How it's insane
hmm
that he loses to BSD in his
hmm
his ranking match. That was for him his shot into the rankings. Gets ranked after that, which it's not ridiculous. I can see how the UFC
No,
still gives
yeah.
him 15. But what is ridiculous is how he fights up in the rankings after that loss against number 9 Rafael Fiziev, dude.
The thing is, I think that just speaks to his name value, and I think that's a very winnable fight for him, even
Oh,
though
hot
it's up in the
take.
rankings. Yeah, it's a hot take, but I think, dude, Mauricio Rufy striking,
It's
if you
very
look
good.
at it,
Very good.
he's one of those guys that's like Michael Venom Page, but like where it's like, he's if you're standing with him, you're gonna lose. It's like it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter how, technically, oh, I got this perfect Muay Thai and I can low kick and I can do this. Mauricio Rufy's gonna piece you up on the feet, and we saw
Yeah,
this. Benoit Saint Denis and the tiny little gaps where Benoit Saint Denis was walking forward, he was getting caught with knees. He was getting caught with like heavy shots. Thankfully for Benoit Saint Denis, he could take those and just keep walking forward like a tank and
yeah.
just marauder him down. But is Rafael Fiziev, who's also a striker, going to be able to deal with that? I don't know.
The matchup is a little ridiculous, but I honestly I can appreciate it because this is going to be a striking masterclass, dude. Rafael
It
Fiziev
is.
and Mauricio Rufy both have some flashy, insane technical striking. Fiziev has great leg kicks, some great combos. Rufy is just so fluid and flashy with his striking, and I can really appreciate this. And I think I sort of agree with you when you say that this is a winnable matchup for Mauricio Rufy, but if I had to pick
It's hard.
if I had to pick who's winning this fight, I'm gonna lean a little more towards the Rafael Fiziev fight, but it's definitely a very good matchmaking by the UFC, very like even matchmaking. So
Yeah, I think that the odds are going to be extremely close for this fight. And I'm just leaning to Mauricio Rufy just because I know how talented and fluid he is on the feet. So unless Rafael Fiziev has like an alternate game plan where he wants to change it up, change the levels and take him down, um, I think that he's gonna get himself into some trouble.
yeah,
Also, let's not forget Mauricio Rufy is significantly bigger as far as size, like height,
he's a big lightweight.
reach. Yeah, so that also contributes into why I think that it's a winnable fight.
And, we've already talked about Ali Abdel Aziz's privilege, but can we talk about some fighting nerd privilege, dude? Because Gene Silva was able to fight the number 2 ranked contender Diego Lopez. Now Mauricio Rufy is able to fight up 6 spots in the rankings after a loss. Caio Borralho, after being away for a year, got to fight in a main event against the quote unquote number 1 contender. There is some fighting
Yeah.
nerd privilege, dude.
No, yeah, absolutely. And it's what you said. It's about name value in this company. It's really not about I mean, why even have rankings at this point? We could
Yeah,
just throw that in the bin.
yeah,
Because the
honestly.
rankings give us a general idea, but it's like when you have a guy that's like in the bottom of the rankings and they could fight a guy, they could just jump up all these places and fight a guy that's all the way at the top or even get a title shot when they're, in the 5 spot or whatever. I mean, we talk about, not making any sense. Pimblett, without even having a fight, floated up to number 5 in the rankings, which doesn't, how does that happen? Um,
Well, I mean, I can see some stuff like, Dustin Poirier retired, but to go up
oh, come
five
on.
spots is a little suspicious. I do agree with you on that.
I don't think that the rankings really are an indicator of much nowadays, even though I think they should be.
Yeah,
But yeah,
because
there's
what's the point?
definitely fighting nerd privilege. It's entertainment privilege. Whoever the fans want to see the most, that's likely who's going to be the next guy.
Yeah, and I
That's
mean,
it.
all the fighting nerds are good. I mean, especially Carlos Prates, dude. We'll talk about him when we get to
Hmm.
welterweight. Um,
Woo!
but before we get to welterweight, we talked about it a little bit. Do you want to talk about BSD
Mhm.
versus Dan Hooker on? It's the co-main of 325, I believe, in Australia.
He's fighting Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I got Benoit Saint Denis. Dan Hooker, you suck. Turtle in a tree. That's Renato
Who put
Moicano
him
likes to
there?
say. Who put him there? Nah, yeah. I'm gonna have to go with the Marauder.
BSD.
Let's talk. BSD has been in a resurgence now, like I've never seen before.
He's on a
He
good
took that
streak.
loss. Yeah, he lost to Dustin Poirier, and then he's on this. He beat Mauricio Rufy, knocked out Beneil Dariush in that crazy exchange in the beginning. Dude, he's come back, dude. Don't sleep on BSD, dude. This guy is powerful. He's strong, great wrestling, and we know that Dan Hooker's wrestling defense is to jump a guillotine, so that's not going to work very well.
Yeah, and if I'm being honest, BSD, he's kind of turning more in my favor. I can really appreciate a
Mhm.
fighter who has good activity. This guy just fought Mauricio Rufy, fought Beneil
Mhm.
Dariush. Got gifted his glass chin, and is now fighting Dan Hooker again, all in the span of like what 3 fights in 6 months, and he's been winning all of them.
Mhm.
If he
Yeah.
beats number 6 Dan Hooker, it'll probably be one more to him for the title, and this guy is
Yeah.
becoming more and more favorable by the fight.
Yeah, I really like Ben Washington, and I think it's also like is the activity like you said, and it's the fight style which is really entertaining, like a guy who's always moving forward,
And getting
um,
finishes.
and getting finishes. Yeah, so it's really entertaining, and yeah, I'm gonna pick BSD just because.
I'm
Yeah,
agreeing
Dan
with
Hooker,
you.
come on,
I
man,
agree with you.
come on.
Yeah. Do you have any other fights you want to talk about a lightweight before we bulk up 15 pounds?
Uh, I'm looking. Nah, we could bulk up a 15 pounds.
All right, coming to welterweight, who do you want to talk about first? Because this is the most stacked division in the UFC right now, undeniably.
Yeah, there's so many ways that you can go here in welterweight as far as who gets the title shot, who contendership matches. I think there's one right way. Should I already get into who I
Yeah,
think
of
the rightful
course.
contender is? I think Ian Gary. I think Ian Gary.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I'm not a Ian Gary fan, so keep that in mind. I just think right now, if it's not, Shavkat Rakhmonov hasn't fought in like forever. I don't even know how long it's been since Shavkat Rakhmonov
Over a
has been.
year.
So he comes back. I'm saying he needs one win. You need to book him against somebody. Um, and then Ian Gary, he's been on a tear. He just beat Muhammad. It was like pretty lopsided beating. He beat Carlos Prates. He's beat everybody that's in that type of picture except for Michael Morales. So, and Michael
Well, and
Morales,
Shavkat.
he's new. And Shavkat, yeah, he lost to Shavkat. But if we're just the way I look at it, Shavkat's basically retired.
Yeah.
That guy isn't fighting. So I discredit him. So right now in the title picture we have Gary, Morales, and Prates. Like those are the like three guys. I don't think Prates deserves it. I'm sure you probably agree.
I agree.
He's just lost to Gary. Like, yeah, he got a win against Leon Edwards, but when you have Gary, who also won against a former champion, and he's in a bigger win streak, and he's beat you, he goes above you. And then we have Michael Morales, which very impressive win over Sean Brady.
If you want
Um,
my opinion, I think this is Michael
yeah,
Morales is the guy who should be fighting for the title next
I
over
mean, I
Ian
wouldn't hate
Gary.
that.
The
Yeah,
thing with
I
Ian
wouldn't hate
Gary
that.
though is you did mention he has some great wins. You also forgot to mention Michael Venom Page, but he did just
Yeah,
lose to
yeah,
Shavkat like 3 fights ago. He's only on a 2 fight win streak. I think Ian Gary is one of the most skilled guys, and obviously he's like the future of this division. Not to be a
yeah. Hmm.
cornball, but I think we can't book him a title shot with only a 2 fight win streak. I think if Ian Gary gets one more, absolutely give him the title shot. 3 fight win streak. But at the end of the day, there's another guy in the division who has a win over him, like a semi recent win over him, who's undefeated in the boogeyman. If you want to talk about
Yeah.
prospects who are really impressive and also undefeated, Shavkat and Michael Morales are our go-tos for this division. But like you said, I agree with you. Shavkat's pretty much retired. He has no knee. He's always getting these
Hmm.
surgeries. The only really activity that he has in the fight game these days is calling out Joaquin Buckley. But
That's crazy.
dude, I think Michael Morales is the most impressive guy right now. He just beat Sean Brady, who even if he didn't fight Michael Morales, could have got the title shot because he beat Leon Edwards. But
Hmm.
had he beat Michael Morales, we would have been calling, yeah, this guy needs to fight for the title. He's super impressive. He's got great grappling, and Michael Morales dusted him in one. He's like what, 18
Hmm.
and 0 right now, 19 and 0, seven
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. Dude, he's a
18.
powerhouse. He could easily be an 85er.
Yeah.
So that's my
No, yeah,
opinion.
I wouldn't. I get what you're saying. I wouldn't be mad at that. The only reason why I put Ian Gary above is just because I think Ian is a little more established as far as name value. So I
I
think that
agree.
makes a little more sense. Like it's a little bit of a bigger fight. Like you
I
put
agree.
Michael Morales, a lot of the casual viewers are not gonna necessarily know, how good he is. Obviously, they're gonna see the record.
And like
He
we
has that
said,
win against Sean Brady.
the UFC is
But
a
yeah.
popularity contest these days.
Yeah, but Ian Gary, because of all the memes, he's so hated. Everybody knows Ian Gary,
Yeah,
and I just see that happening. More than Michael Morales. Although I wouldn't be mad at either outcome. I think they both would be like a really good matchup. I think Ian Gary poses a little bit less of a, sorry, a little bit more of a grappling defensive ability than Michael Morales, even though we haven't really seen Michael Morales be tested too much in that department. I know Sean Brady kind of shot some limpy
Yeah.
takedowns, but he kind of got clobbered before he could do any of that.
You
But
know,
I think stylistically, it's good. It's a good fight, him and Makachev.
we're talking about the title picture right now, and there's one, potent name that we're forgetting about when booking the the title shot, and that's Kamaru Usman, dude. Give him the
Yeah.
title shot.
Well, I believe we were watching. So we were watching that the JDM fight, and what did
Yeah,
I say to you on the day? I was like, you know what? I could low key see Kamaru Usman being the next one to get because he just got that win off of Buckley, that
yeah.
dominant win,
And if you want to
and
talk
then I was
about
like,
Ali privilege,
yeah,
Islam Makhachev and
yeah,
Kamaru Usman, who are they both managed by?
Ali, exactly. So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, when I saw Islam wins, I'm like, who would be like the name value? Because you have to do like for Islam Makhachev, you can't just have like these like no name guys,
Exactly,
come up
yeah.
fight. Islam is like a legend of the game. He's pound for pound number one. He might be the greatest fighter of all time.
Tied for the biggest win streak ever in the UFC.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to give him like a legend. And
Exactly.
who's the bigger legend than Kamaru Usman, who's like the greatest welterweight of all time?
In Dana White's
Only
eyes,
in Dana White's eye, and like the only other argument would be like GSP.
who's long
So as
gone.
far as yeah, who's long gone. So it's like you're gonna make a legends fight. I don't think there's a bigger legend that you could put in there with Islam Makhachev than Kamaru Usman. Although as far as ranking goes, that would be
Yeah,
a bit of a stretch
it would.
to do that. But
To be honest,
I've seen crazier things.
do not be surprised if in the coming weeks we see kind of similar to
Hmm.
Paddy Pimblett, that Kamaru Usman starts drifting up the rankings a little bit. He goes up
Yeah,
maybe one or two spots from number 8 to like number 6, number 7, six
yeah.
six
And
seven.
I wouldn't be surprised. We're gonna see Dana White's bald head appear in that little
Instagram
camera on
Reels.
Instagram. Here you go, guys.
Fight of the
UFC
year.
for announcing Fight of the Year contendership. Kamaru Usman, the greatest welterweight of all time, taking on Islam Makhachev.
And honestly,
Yeah,
dude,
be ready for that.
like if they book that fight, I'm picking Islam, but it's
Yeah, me
not
too.
it's not ridiculous to say that there will definitely be some high level exchanges. Kamaru
For
Usman
sure.
looked great against Hamza Chimaev at middleweight, dude. He was stuffing
For
takedowns.
sure.
He was having his success, and that's with the champion of the guy in the bigger division who could honestly be.
Mm.
I don't know if he could honestly be a 205er, but he's the middleweight champion right now. Undefeated, and he gave him his
What do
closest
you
fight
mean?
yet.
Dude, Hamza could be, in a heavyweight. He could ragdoll Tom Aspinall the same way he did Jurgens. Actually, I'm not even joking about that. There's like a serious argument that Hamza could out wrestle like a Tom Aspinall.
He does
Like
have.
when
When you talk
he's
about best
technically
wrestlers in the
that
UFC
good.
right now, I say Hamza Chimaev is the first one who comes to mind.
He is no, he's seriously that good. He trains with Sadalayev, who's like the Russian like gold medalist, like heavyweight champion of wrestling, like Olympic gold. Like and he has really good exchanges with him if you see the videos and stuff.
And he was like a
So he's
Swedish
really that level.
wrestling champion, right?
Yeah. He was. Yeah. He is really that level. It's like as good as you think he is, he's even better than that.
Brown
So
belt in jiu-jitsu.
yeah, that just makes it even more impressive what Kamaru Usman did against Hamza.
Yeah, and
And
welterweight's his
yeah, it would
home.
be a good fight.
Welterweight is where Kamaru Usman shines. He had like something like 5 title defenses or 5 title
Hmm.
wins.
And here's the kicker, though. I don't even think that the reason why I am gonna pick Islam Makhachev is I don't think that Kamaru Usman outstrikes Islam.
I agree.
I don't think he does.
And I think with that kind of like, two real grapplers going against each other, is they're both gonna
Hmm.
be very technical with their takedown defense and their exchanges on the ground,
Yeah,
where I think that's gonna turn into a stand-up fight.
exactly. No, I agree. And if it's a stand-up fight, I'm picking Islam.
I concur.
Hmm. Is there any other fights there that are
I do.
interesting? Yeah. Okay, let's hear it.
Carlos Prates, coming over the amazing win over Leon Edwards, dude. He rage baited him
Yes,
into a
sir.
striking match. What's next for Carlos Prates? I see two paths in my mind. I say we give him the former champion Jack Della Maddalena, or we give him the undefeated striking powerhouse Michael Morales.
Yeah, no, I agree. Those two matchups are probably the matches to be. I actually really like both of those matchups. I think Jack Della Maddalena, really good striker. Michael Morales, also really good, but in a different way. Michael Morales is like good, but not in the sense where it's like technique based or like speed based.
He's just a
He's just
powerhouse.
so big. He's so big, so powerful. That he does these clubbing shots where it's almost like a hammer fist, like a standing hammer fist, and he knocks them out.
Yeah,
And then Jack Della with his boxing would be really entertaining to watch. And both of those fights, I would not be able to sleep at night. Just
I know
waiting for
you're
that fight.
you're
So
one of the biggest Carlos Prates fans out there.
yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir.
if we're talking about Kamaru Usman, you know, the obviously like the rankings and a lot of the fans don't want to see him go against Makhachev. So I have two proposals for him. If Kamaru Usman needs to get one more win before fighting for the title again, I think we can give him either Shavkat or
Hmm.
Sean Brady.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. I don't. I'm not mad at that. I think Sean Brady kind of makes sense. And I think it's a winnable matchup for Usman too, because Sean Brady, glass jaw, got knocked out with Bilal.
Bilal's only
So
finish, by the way.
yeah, so clearly Sean Brady's glass jaw Brady against Kamaru Usman, who's great takedown defense,
Do you know
powerful in
what?
the striking. So I'm
I
picking
think
Usman.
I think if
I'm
we're
picking
talking
Usman.
about the BMF belt, we need to
Yeah,
invent a new belt. Call it the CMF for the chinniest MFer,
yeah.
bro. And we'll have Sean Brady go up against Beneil Dairouche for the CMF, bro.
We need to do the bad guy, worst guy awards for the chiniest fighter of all time,
Upcoming
and I think Sean Brady's up there.
potential upcoming video in the near future. But
Yeah, tier list.
if that's all we have for welterweight, should we bulk up another 15 and really density max our way to middleweight?
I just want to say Colby Covington one fight away from a title shot. That's the last thing I want to
Bro,
say about
zero
that.
fights away from a title shot. Book it right now.
Give him it right now.
He's more of a legend than Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, he beat Usman by the way, second fight. Anyways, middleweight.
um, dude, I haven't heard many people talk about this fight. I haven't even heard many people talk about this guy, bro.
Hmm.
What has happened to all the Dricus Duplessis fans, bro? I have not jumped off this ship.
Yeah.
I am still a Dricus Duplessis lover. Okay? And if he needs a
Yeah.
fight back, maybe a little bit of a hype train derailer, I think we should give him number 5 ranked Brennan Allen.
Yeah, no, that definitely would be a fight that makes sense. I think personally, dude, he got smoked all the way down on the rankings, son. You're fighting Joe Piper, number 15
Best
ranked
we could
Joe
do is
Piper,
Apex main event.
or Gregory Rodriguez. You're going all the way down, bud.
Did they
You
rank
you don't get a
RoboCop?
top. Yeah, he's number 14. Um,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah, very serious. No, yeah, I don't hate that. Brennan Allen, off that win against Reiner the Ritter, very
Reiner
dominant
the
win, made
Quitter.
him quit. Yeah, made him quit on the stool. So yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that. Duplessis versus Brendan Allen. Let's see it.
Honestly, no. When we're talking about Dricus Duplessis, we talked about Joe Pfeiffer, but another name that we're forgetting is Bo Nickel, dude.
He actually really impressed me in that performance. I'm not gonna
That
lie.
head
His
kick was
striking looked
nasty.
it looked a lot like he looked a lot better in his striking than he's ever looked before. So
And
he
we were
clearly has been
hating.
working really hard.
We were
Yeah, I was
hating, dude.
hating.
I
Yeah.
think we owe Bo Nickel an apology.
Yeah, sorry, Bo Nickel. I can't out wrestle you. Don't kill me.
Dude, even like at the start of the fight when he hit him with that mat return and almost finished him, like I knew the fight
Yeah.
was in his favor, bro.
Yeah, no, Bo Nickel went from, like little iCarly striking, little
Ronda
pitter
Rousey
patter shots
shadow
to now,
boxing.
exactly. Now he actually looks really good on the feet. So yeah, he's gonna be good, I think. Well, Sean Strickland, Anthony Hernandez got announced,
Good
so that
fight.
I'll look forward to that. Really good fight. We have to do something. I think Adesanya he's gonna come back for like probably another one, so one last fight. I wouldn't mind seeing like a Adesanya versus Michael Venom Page
I like
fight
that fight. I
if
like
he
that
sticks
fight.
around. I think that's really cool. Or if we want to bring it back and turn back the clock a little bit to a rematch, that would be really fun. Would be Paulo Costa versus Israel Adesanya. Paulo Costa had that really good win against who was it again? It was
Ch
the little
Chase
Russian kid.
Hernandez, right? Or I'm
No,
thinking
it
Chase
was
Hooper, the Russian guy who RoboCop just
yeah, the
beat.
Russian kid. Yes, yes. Yeah, really good performance. And they hate each other's
Roman
bad blood. The trash
Kopylov.
talk goes,
Roman
yeah, Roman
Kopylov.
Kopylov. The
There we
trash
go.
talk is always funny between those two, so I wouldn't mind seeing that. But I think Michael Venom Page versus Adesanya would be a fight I want to see.
I think that's a very good matchup. There's also like rumors of a UK like fight night in the
Yeah,
community. If you're talking about Michael Venom Page, I do agree. I like the Adesanya fight. That sounds like
yeah,
two characters I'd have fight on like UFC 5. But
exactly.
another fighter for MVP. Hot take, dude. MVP versus Kyle Bohayo could be a very fun
hmm
fight.
Yeah, I think that would be a really fun fight. And that's a very 50-50 fight as well. We know how
Yeah.
good Michael Page is on the feet.
We were
Um,
talking about
if
Kyoji Horiguchi being one of the craftiest vets of all time, but Michael Venom Page is. If we're doing a rankings video, Michael Venom Page
Yeah,
needs to be in the talks for craftiest vet of all time.
dude, he's definitely a buckle hat wearer. He comes to the stage using a horse and buggy, and he's one of those crafty events that you gotta look out for because even though he's old and pushing 40, he's still faster than everybody in the
Oh
division,
my,
which
and
is
dude,
absolutely
his
crazy.
style is so satisfying to watch. Like, look at what he did
It
against
is.
Killer Gorilla, bro. He was emoting on him after
Yeah.
every knockdown.
Somehow, by the way, I'm looking at the rankings right now. Him and Jerry Cannonier are tied at number 10 in the rankings, even though he beat Cannonier. So
Wasn't it
it's a
like
little
a
bit interesting.
close decision? It was like 29-28, right?
Yeah, it was close. It was very close. But I mean, I had it clear for Michael Page.
I
I don't
agree.
know.
Well, he was the only one who scored like the knockdowns. It was like two knockdowns.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know why why it's tied there, but it is what it is. Yeah, if Caio Borralho, Michael Page doesn't happen, I wouldn't mind seeing Caio Borralho versus Reiner de Ritter.
I like that.
Caio is number 7, Reiner is number 8. They're both coming off a loss, so whoever wins that gets a little bit of a hype boost. So that would be a nice fight to see.
Who do you have in that fight?
Caio. I'm gonna go Caio. Just I think he's a little bit more gritty. Just a little more grit to
Yeah,
him.
I mean we can't keep Reinier de Ritter in those grit conversations after he quit on the
No, we
stool.
can't. We
So
cannot. But also I can see Rhino the Ritter landing one of those like big knees and like knocking him out, or even grinding out like a. He's still really good grappler. Like he's still really powerful. Like
he
he could,
was one of my
you
favorites to
know,
watch in the division because of his entertainment and
yeah.
his style before his loss to Brendan Allen too.
Like I could also see him like ragdolling Caio Borralho, but Caio's also really good at jiu-jitsu and a
Yeah,
really
and
good
he's like
grappler.
a
So
judo brown belt as well, right? Or black belt maybe?
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure about what belt he is in judo, but I know jiu-jitsu he's a black belt. And yeah, that would be just a really entertaining fight through and through, and that would be something that I would want to see. Yes, sir. Let's go light heavyweight. Bottom
What
boy.
what should we do with this is your boy Azmat
Mhm.
Mursakanov, the professional?
Yes, sir. Also, I've been calling this guy. I've been watching every single one of his fights just because he's kind of flown under the radar from a lot of people. He kind of appeared out of nowhere, but you see that undefeated record, and then just the performances he just touches people and they die. Which is really entertaining. Azamat needs to fight somebody in that like top 5 space. Jan Blachowicz, get out of there. He's not fighting him. I'm
I
looking
think
at it.
Carlos
Maybe like a
Olberg
Khalil Roundtree,
Khalil
or
Roundtree's a good
yeah,
fight.
Carlos Olberg is likely to be next for the title shot. I'm not gonna lie. That's what they're talking about. So Khalil Roundtree's coming off, a few losses. And if he could beat Azamat Murzakanov, then he gets a lot of momentum back. But if Azamat beats Khalil, then he's right there in the title picture. So I
I
think
agree.
that fight makes a lot of sense.
The issue with
Azamat's number 6, Khalil's number 4. It's right there.
the issue with middleweight though is it's kind of dependent on the champion Alex Pereira, right? Because
I
we're
mean,
not
like
really
heavyweight.
we're not really sure what's going on with Pereira right now because he wants to go up for the third belt and maybe fight like
Hmm.
Cyril Gane for an interim or maybe even just fight John Jones at heavyweight. And if he decides to move up, then we have some vacant belt options. Like Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Ulberg could be a very good vacant title
Super
fight
cool.
because
Super cool.
those two are the main ones in title picture right now. But the issue with Yuri Prohaska is you've already lost to Pereira like brutally twice, and
Yeah.
Ulberg is like you said the favorite to fight him right now because he hasn't fought Pereira. It's a new fresh matchup. He's a striker. Pereira can win that fight, so it's really dependent on what happens with Pereira in the coming months.
My dream scenario would be I think Pereira moves up. That I want to see that. I
I
want to
do
see him
too.
go for that third belt.
Let's
That would
go
be
for
like my
that.
dream. Yeah, and then Prohaska versus somebody because I just want to see Prohaska have a chance of being champ again. And I think Prohaska, beats anyone that's not called Alex Pereira. And seeing him versus Olberg for the vacant light heavyweight title, should Alex Pereira move up, would be a really, really fun fight.
I agree.
And it's a winnable fight for Prohaska.
Light heavyweight's honestly one of these more underrated divisions. We
It
have
is.
some underrated contenders.
Yeah, and then we have Jamal Hill who's in that picture as
No,
well,
no, no.
dude.
Well,
He needs
he's
to.
booked against Joanna Jędrzejczyk right now, so
Oh, he is?
yeah, I hear
I
that
didn't see that, but
weight cut's pretty
yeah.
brutal.
Okay. Yeah, did. Oh yeah, the woman fighter. I That flew right over my head.
Dude, have you seen like the TJ Dillashaw edit of
Yeah,
Jamal Hill
Joanna.
cutting to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
115?
Dude, that's crazy. He threatened to knock her out. That's
Bro,
ridiculous.
have
But
you seen the text where they
yeah,
were like, this is a kind of a little side note for the viewers if you don't know, but Jamal Hill threatened to knock out the former 115 champion after they were like flirting a little bit too, weren't they? If you saw
yeah,
the Instagram messages.
yeah. I just want to say I'm Team Jamal Hill in this interaction, dude. That lady's
Honestly,
crazy.
give me Joanna. I think she knocks him out, low key.
Yeah, low key, he's been getting knocked out by everybody. So maybe.
He needs to be a contender for the CMF, dude, if we do that ranking.
Yeah, yeah. Genius fighter. Not really. I'm just gonna say some people that need to retire. Dominic Reyes retire.
Oh,
Uh,
he's in the CMF
uh,
talks too, dude.
yeah. Nikita Krylov retire. John Blahovic definitely retire.
Nah, Unk
Just
still
doing a
got
little
it.
bit of.
Unk still got it.
Oh, come on. Dude, he's the proddiest fighter. We need the proddiest fighter belt as well, and that would be Jan Blahovic.
Incoming ranking videos for you guys.
Yeah. I just retire everybody. We need to
Honestly,
start from scratch.
scrap light heavyweight along with flyweight. Get this division off
Yep.
the map.
Get his ass out.
I think
Okay,
it's
now
time.
we're going to the fattest division.
Yeah, let's really take our density to the max. Start eating that goy slop. Really bulk up. Let's talk about heavyweight, the blobs, dude.
Cyril Gunn put an absolute beating on Tom Aspinall,
He's
and
still
he
injured
quit.
to this day. To this day.
Absolute whooping. That was the most striking masterclass I've ever seen. He busted him
Absolutely.
up, and then Tom Aspinall quit in the corner
He
because he
used a
couldn't take.
controversial move too.
Yeah,
I can
he
appreciate
couldn't.
his
He
craftiness.
couldn't handle Cyril Gaines. You know, crazy craftiness.
What do we do
So
with
as
heavyweight,
far as I'm
bro?
concerned,
What do we
as
do with
far as I'm
heavyweight?
concerned, Cyril Gane is undisputed champion right now.
Okay,
No, yeah, they're gonna run that back for sure.
but that's the thing though, because Aspinall is supposedly, still recovering for this injury. So it's how long is Aspinall going
Milking
to
it,
be out for?
absolutely milking it, dude. There's no
But there could be a pro if Aspinall continues to milk it. What if, brother? What if we get
John Jones.
no? What if we get Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane for an interim heavyweight fight?
God, that would be so good. That would be so.
Because
That would
that's a
feed
winnable
generations, dude.
matchup for Pereira as
That
well.
feeds. I would pick Pereira to win that.
I
Just
agree.
out of the blue. I'm looking at that. I'm picking Pereira. And honestly, dude, after seeing the Gon, just obviously that fight didn't go to the second round even, but just seeing how Gon was dealing with Tom Aspinall, even like his like little takedown attempts and whatever the striking, dude, Pereira could beat Tom Aspinall.
Yeah,
Like it's possible.
and
That's not crazy to say that.
expanding on that, I think when they do eventually book the rematch with Aspinall versus Cyril Gahn, we're going to see some significant changes in Tom Aspinall's game plan because he was struggling
Yeah.
a little bit against Cyril Gahn. There was definitely some smaller holes in his game plan.
Yeah, he needs to definitely wrestle more. Like, just stop trying to 1-2 people. The big Shelly, it doesn't work.
There's been some good heavyweight fights announced recently.
hmm
Um, one of the heavyweight fights of all time is Waldo Cortes Acosta versus Derek Lewis, bro.
Very
Um,
good fight.
it's one of the fights of all time.
It's one of the fights, dude. It's one of the, it's not a fight necessarily. I'm going to be waking up, in the early hours in the morning, like, oh my God, I can't wait for
It's
Derek
here.
Lewis to
It's
have
today.
war.
Like.
It's here, dude. But dude, I feel like I don't know why, but I have this feeling inside me that there's gonna be one of those fights where Waldo could beat, he beat all these like cool guys, and then Derek Lewis just absolutely will clobber him in the first round of
Yeah,
GM.
just
And I
kills
just
his
feel like
hype
it's
train.
shaping up to be. Yeah, it's just shaping up to be that. It's like it's too good to be true that this guy is like fighting all the time and he's beating everyone and he's actually like a good contender. Like it just seems like it's shaping up to be like, oh, Derek Lewis is just gonna clobber him in it.
Yeah. If you want to talk about, you know, kind of hype trains, Talixin Texera is fighting Tai Tuivasa, bro. That is also one of the matchups of all time, dude.
That's indeed a matchup that is happening in a space and time.
What is Dana White like?
Uh,
What does he smoke before he makes some of these heavyweight fights?
dude, how's Taito Ivasa still number 12 in the rankings?
For real. Well, people forget, man. He was piecing up Cyril Gahn.
Oh man, oh man. Yeah, he's right above the Blob Shamil Gaziev who
Oh,
suffered that
what a
horrible
tragic.
defeat.
I heard that was actually like Sora AI.
Yeah, that was not real. But yeah, I don't know what to say about that fight. I'm picking Taliesin Teixeira because I don't can Tai Tuivasa even cut to 265?
It's a pretty brutal weight cut. I think it might be a little more difficult than Jamal Hill cutting down to 115.
Yeah, I'm picking Taliesin.
I don't care
More
about
athletic.
all these bums. I'm waiting for the next Walter Walker fight. When are they announcing his matchup,
Facts.
bro? He should have fought Tai
Facts.
Tuivasa. Heel hooked him into
Yeah.
oblivion.
Yeah, I want him to fight the chocolate Peppa Pig. Yeah.
Well, he got
No,
cut.
yeah, I'm
Chris
excited.
Barnett.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, he recently got a win in like karate combat. I don't
Dude,
know
I
if you saw
saw
that,
that.
but
I saw that.
hmm but yeah, Walter Walker is very entertaining every time he fights, and yeah, I look forward to seeing who he fights next.
Honestly, playing matchmaker right now, continuing with the theme of the video, Walter Walker versus Shamil Ghazayev. What do you think?
Yeah, that would be a good fight. That would be the ultimate blob fight of all time. But
I can see the
actually,
edits already.
Walter is not a blob.
No, he's not.
He's got lighter man skill at heavyweight.
He's a
Like he's good.
big heavyweight. Like he's tall.
Yeah, he's tall. So I can see him kind of folding Shamil into a pretzel too,
Yeah, and
perhaps.
taking his ankle into oblivion.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That would be crazy if Vulture can somehow get himself to like a top spot. Could you imagine he gets his like a title shot off of just heel hooking everybody, and he just for the rest of his career is just heel hooking.
Oh,
That would be crazy.
it'll be one of the most legendary runs ever.
Yeah, it's already a legendary run. Like, how do you get so many in a row?
Four in a row. That's it's like a record, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Scrap it too, dude. We should
Yeah,
only have
honestly, light heavyweight, flyweight, and heavyweight are all going into the bin.
all in the bin. And then, yeah, I'm actually happy with that. That would be perfection if we just had bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, middleweight. Boom,
That's
finish.
all we need, bro. If
And
you're
no
fat,
women.
if you're well that's a given, obviously. Except for maybe Shevchenko can
Strawweight.
stay. Whoa.
Strawweight, Mackenzie Dern's thing, dude. You guys aren't gonna do that to my woman.
Oh man.
No, I think that's about it.
Well,
Very entertaining how everything's changed, like the landscape wise, new champions, exciting fights to be made. But yeah, I think we covered them all.
I think we kind of came up with some of our own genius here in this video, with some of these rankings. Not to mention, the genius idea of maybe the chinniest fighter rankings or some other future ranking videos. But do you
We
have any?
definitely need a tier list.
Oh, I agree. Do you have any last words for the real diehard fans who have stayed tuned in to the end of this episode?
Um, till next time.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Until next time, peace.